undergrad work I was doing, and in that particular time only I got introduced to camera, and the reason was just to use for my own work. And when, like most of you, even I was very confused when I did my undergrad. Like when I completed my undergrad, I was like super confused what to do, because I had like so many interests. Whatever I like, whatever I see, I like, I want to be that. And it's like, but I want to do more than that. So I came across some very interesting animation films, and somewhere I felt, okay, this is something where I can use my photo painting skill, but also I can tell stories through it. So I joined National Institute of Design for my master's after this, where I did animation. And yeah, so it's like flirting with many, and you don't know what you actually, who you want to commit to, right? Like some people, they look really good from distance, but when you know, when you talk to them, you understand they're not the one for you. The same way I joined animation, then in 6 months I realized I don't want to do animation. Like somewhere I felt my, I couldn't, like I can enjoy a good animation film, but this is not what I wanted to do. Like somewhere I feel like when I was out with my camera shooting portraits or street photograph, I enjoyed that more. Then I realized I don't want to do animation, and I wanted to quit the college in 6 months. But then, with the help of professors and my friends and everybody, shared their experience, and I decided to, continue the studies and also do what I wanted to do. And they gave so much freedom for me to, explore whatever I wanted to do there. So in that particular time, whatever like whenever I get a chance to either shoot a portrait of somebody, or shoot product photos for somebody, or whatever it is, anything related to photography, I was enrolling myself and I was doing it. So when a time came when I had to do a film, animation film, and all I could think of was my childhood, and how a photo studio in my locality inspired me. Like when I was a kid, it used to be like a very old studio where everybody there was only one studio in that area, and almost everyone knows that photographer. Everybody used to come there, and whenever it is a good celebration or some memory they want to remember later, they always come there to take photographs. So I remembered that, and somewhere I wanted to show that in the film. So I made an animation film also about a photographer. And so in that way, like wherever I could relate myself with photography, I was like doing it, even though I was studying something else completely. And yeah, next slide. So yeah, I was doing a lot of documentaries also in that time. Like whenever a filmmaking student wants to do a cinematography or anything, like wherever I can touch a camera, I used to do that. I used to take up that work and I used to do. And whenever I get a chance to travel, I should document a lot of things. Like whenever I get a time, I travel and do a lot of travel photography. So one good thing about studying animation was, before that it was just like about beautiful image. Like when I was painting, it was all about creating a beautiful image. And when I was shooting photograph also, it was just about shooting a beautiful photograph. But in the when I studied film, when I studied animation film, what I learned is how important is to develop empathy. How, if you want to create an interesting character, before that I used to think a character as just a cartoon character or whatever it is. But when I studied that, I realized whatever you create, character you create, you have to understand other humans, then only you can create beautiful character, or else it will be a very flat character. So studying about character design and all this thing made me a better person, in a way that I could actually listen to others instead of just talking. Like when I have a conversation with friends also, I don't just I don't just talk. I listen to them first, and I understand in what stand they are talking and all these things. So basically I developed a better empathy for others. So the so after that, I did one project with trans, like there is a small transgender festival happens in a village near in Tamil Nadu. So I traveled there, and I spent 3 days with them documenting their festival, their emotions, their lifestyle, like how people enjoy there, how people cry there, everything. So there I realized the difference, like how before it was just a street photography where I used to just focus on a what to say, just a beautiful frame. But here, when I did this project, I realized, yeah, I am becoming a better person. As a human, I'm becoming better, and I'm understanding others' emotion better. And when I did this project, it was like this is a very close to my heart project, because whatever memories I had during this project was like, even I can remember till now, because how they felt when I interacted with the camera. People, when you go, people don't generally open up to a stranger, but with the camera and with the empathy, you can actually enter to anyone's, anyone can share any story with you because they trust you. And to develop that trust, it was very interesting for me to, during this project, I really, I understood that. And yeah, so whatever you learn in the process, it will reflect in different stages. So when I came back this was a project I did in NID, where as I told you, the faculties were helping me in many ways wherever I could show my photography skill. So when they did that yearbook and their website, this thing, they wanted to change the photographs what they already used. Initially, when you talk about this kind of photograph of faculties, it's always just a mugshot of anyone. But this time they approached me to do something interesting than what we usually do. And NID had a separate photography department also, but still they approached me because they trusted me and they saw that I was passionate about photography. So they gave this opportunity. So this was a wonderful opportunity, because I got to spend time with each and every faculty of NID who I never interacted with also before. Some of them I never interacted. I'm an introvert, so I just generally stick with my own group. I don't like go out and talk to many. But as a when I become a photographer, yeah, I had to, somewhere I come out from that small circle, and I was more curious about other human, like what is their journey, what do they like, and how do they feel in certain moment, and all this thing I became more curious about that. So when I got this project, I didn't want to just go and shoot a good picture with good lighting or good studio setup. uh, so each faculty had like I had to spend time with each faculty, and I understood their story, and I asked them questions like, which location they like in the faculty campus, and what do they do when they are bored. All the silly questions which made them open up more. And in the process, I realized some of the faculties who I thought were really, really rude, or who was very strict, were completely different in front of camera. And someone who you thought really cool became very conscious in front of camera. So the entire process was nice. And the output also like came out when very interesting, that anybody who knew the person could connect to the photograph. So that was a good experience for me. Then towards the end of NID, what happened, like as I told you, even then also I was like exploring multiple, whatever a chance I get, I used to do. Like if I get a friend's wedding shoot, I do. So whatever I get, I used to do. But then there was a chance where I could shoot a fashion shoot. That was the first ever fashion shoot for me. So this was for a friend, and it was a bridal wear and all. And we were planning to shoot it in Calcutta, and with no budget at all. No budget at all, just a camera and lens, and nothing much. So a challenge was to create something interesting. So instead of showing a bridal wear like how we usually show, we wanted to come up with something interesting. So we came up with the idea of runaway bride, and we made we shot in all modes of transport in Calcutta, like in a cab, in a old truck, all this tram, and all this thing we shot. So for this project is very important for me, because during this shoot, I still remember the call time was around 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was in Calcutta, and around 4 o'clock I woke up, and I was so curious about what I'm going to do that day. I was so excited that I couldn't sleep. 4 o'clock I woke up, and I was like planning how I'm going to interact with the model, how I'm going to keep the light, what are the story I'm going to create. All the things are running in my mind. Then a spark came. Actually, I felt like, okay, this is something which I was never excited about anything this way, and I thought maybe I really like this and I want to do it. And I did this project. Absolutely, I didn't make much money or anything, but I enjoyed the entire process. Like how everybody is like, you are creating the story, you are interacting with the model, you are telling what you want, and it was very interesting for me to create this. And somewhere I felt, okay, this is something I really like. In photography, I do multiple different streams, but this is something which I really like and excited about. Uh, so what happened after NID? I got a lot of placements and all. Like I got good paid job and all, but somewhere I felt I should not, like I should pursue what I wanted to do rather than taking something which is not in my stream. Obviously, I got a good job, but somewhere I felt this is something I can postpone for a year and I can try out what I really want to do. And later we'll see, because when you take a decision like this, your family members, your relatives, everybody will, put you down. They'll tell you, you have students loan, why don't you like focus on clearing it, why don't you like make money first and do your thing later, and all this thing they'll say. But somewhere I felt like I don't want to waste any more time thinking that I will do something what I like later and I'll make money right now. So I thought, okay, this 1 year I'll take break. And that 1 year I tried so much to crack something into fashion. But sadly, where I lived, I had no background in fashion. Also, there was not many brands who are like trust you and give you chances. And also, I didn't have a great portfolio as such. So and also whoever I met, whoever I interacted, whoever I told like I want to do something in fashion, everybody put me down that time, because it was around 2015, 2004, yeah, 2015 time. So everybody used to say that fashion, you cannot make money unless you have like a really good connection or some sort of background. So I was quite depressed during that time, because whatever chance I get, I used to do. But then somewhere at a point, I felt, okay, I have to look close, like what is happening next to me. And instead of focusing something which is not there right now, I should actually create something instead of just worrying about it. And that is when I came across this person called Harigaran in my locality. His story was so inspiring that he is a person who lives in my locality, and he has been teaching the slum, like kids of fishermen who didn't have like proper education, and he was like giving them free education. And not only education, but he was teaching them like life skills. And I went there, I interacted with him for like few days, and I felt this person needs, some sort of attention. Like nobody knew about him, what he was doing, and he needed fund for his school. So I decided, okay, whatever I know, whatever skills I had, I will do something for them. So I, with the camera which I had, I just shot a film about him, like what he was doing and how he is helping the kids. And so I thought that that will help them to, for the funds. And during this process only, I directed, I shot, I edited everything by myself. So it was a very like I learned a lot in that process. Also I learned how video is a very good medium, like very powerful medium. So once the video was out, it became viral. And so many people started interviewing him, and he started getting a lot of funds, and people started talking about him. So the impact you made there, that was like quite like close to my heart. Like I'm still in touch with the students, I'm still in touch with the teacher. It's been more than 5 years. So uh, then I realized, yeah, film is something which has this power. So when I, even then, I didn't know like I could crack into fashion. But somewhere, like whatever efforts you make, I have a feeling that it comes back to you. And you don't know when it will come, how it will come. But for me, it came through a call from Sabyasachi. He saw my work somewhere. Not even that time, I was not even in Instagram. He saw my work in some Facebook. Somebody showed my profile to him, where I shot street photographs and some portraits of friends and all. And I got a call from him saying that he liked my work, and if I can moved to Calcutta for work with to do a lot of projects with them. Uh, but I had no big knowledge about fashion back then. I know Sabyasachi is a designer, but I was not that aware that he is a big designer. So how big he is. So I said, okay, I'll get back to you and all. Then I Googled who's Sabyasachi. Then I realized, okay, I should actually go and this is an opportunity which I should not miss. So I shifted to Calcutta. And the next 2.5 3 years, I did like multiple projects with them. Um, right from like that is a place where I learned a lot of things. In the sense, I got the opportunity to work with the biggest of the countries, like in terms of stylists, in terms of makeup artists, models, everything. So for a person who had no background in fashion, the first projects I'm doing for fashion, I mean, very initial projects I'm doing for fashion is like really big scale. So that was like, I never been to that big sets, that big production. I've never seen that kind of scale work. So that was like very interesting for me initially. So there we started. So that is the time Instagram became popular, and he's one of the pioneers who started marketing everything through Instagram. So there we focus like we do multiple shoots a year, and a lot of like whatever we shoot, we plan how to market it, like how to like what are the kind of videos we have to make. Like if for a bridal wear there is a different kind of videos we make, for a casual wear we make a different kind of videos. And also there are like craftsmanship videos. Like since it's a luxury brand, we were also evolving. Like first initially we were focusing, when we did first shoots and all, it is just like a video was like just a complimentary, in the sense like photo shoot happens, and meanwhile we take videos little. I'm talking about 2016. Whatever footage we take, we make some sort of clips so that we put it in Instagram. But then slowly we realized videos are getting like a lot of engagement, and we can do much more than that, than just taking some clips and putting it. So we started planning, we started like actually planning the shoot better. And sometimes we do like craftsmanship videos also, like to show how important a project, how important a product is. And what are how many people in get involved in making just one small piece of art. So because for a common audience, when they when they think about a designer, they just think that a designer might be sitting in some room and the thing can just happen on its own. But there are hundreds of people who work behind each product. So we wanted to like show that through videos, because when we had print as the only medium, it was just the final work people could see. People couldn't see like what are the what are the what are the work we do before that. So since we could do that through video, we tried that also. So we'll play some videos. I mean, we can watch some videos now. First we can start off with some.
So, Manan, just had a question before we go to the videos.
Yeah.
Wanted to understand from you this huge jump that happened.
Right.
How did the world of fashion or luxury behave with you? Like, was it intimidating, or did you
Yes.
seem to fit in? How did that happen? I'm just curious,
Yeah. It was a huge jump, because whatever fashion shoots I did was like very small scale before that. And mostly I was into, if you see the previous project I showed you was documentary. It's about a real people, and telling their story. Nothing was staged there. It was always like things happen, I shoot it, and I tell story according. Like I just show what their life is. But when it comes to this is like everything was in a grand scale. And here you are directing the models, you are telling what you want, and you are creating a story. It's not something happening there and you're documenting it. So here a lot of thought has to be like, you have to put either while shooting, or sometimes when you're editing also, sometimes you have to put thoughts behind it. And there you are dealing with real people, and you're not asking them to do something. But here you have to tell the brand story. You're not telling anything else, but you're telling a story about the brand. The brand what the brand wants. So you have to and these are the models. They will tell whatever you are directing, they're gonna replicate it. So in that way, it was a very different approach altogether.
Very happy to know
Actually, it
that.
was actually very intimidating. Then yeah,
But if this is the best, like this is what it is in fashion. So I will just, Marans, what I've done is we've left the link of the video in the chat. So
right.
everybody will be able to click the video, and
Hmm.
it would be great if everybody can take a time, go and see the video and come back. And I will be playing it live for the audience on Instagram. So it's easy for people to see it while they're all thinking of it. And we quickly come back and discuss. Okay? Thank you. So I'll just quickly direct screen to the video. And everybody else, there's already a link. Just click on the video, go and see it. So I think everybody should have seen the video by now. And Mar, I'm just so spellbound. It's so beautiful, the work, the grandeur, the opulence. It's just a different world. Uh, you know, of course, the most obvious question is creating a legacy for Deepika Padukone when she got married. There was this huge buzz around it. But when you see it here, it all looks so organic. It looks so beautiful, just as if it's a process which has been done right out of a story. Could you tell us the pressure that we had to sort of meet the expectation of someone like a Deepika? And how did we go about it?
I can't hear the last part. Your
So,
voice is very low.
okay, so my question to you was that,
Yeah.
you know, of course, there must have been a huge pressure to
Yeah.
work for someone like Deepika. You know, how did it happen? The whole translation of her dream into a dress, which she wore finally for her wedding, but the whole stigma behind it, the whole nonchalance, and the whole drama that sort of entailed. So, how did it all come into being? And how did you all have to be very coherent at all times?
It was an important video for the brand, uh, for the marketing purpose, whatever it is. Other than that, we have done a lot of craftsmanship videos before that also. But in this, it is not for the mass. Like we are producing one particular piece for one particular person. So we have to put extra effort to show that this is very important, right? So that is where the pressure comes, where you have to like show each and every details. Like so instead of just showing and shooting in one day, that I have been documenting from the day they started the design. From that, it took like 40-50 days to complete it. All these days we were like documenting bits and bits, and we made that video. So it is just to show that how much work we go through to make just one lehenga, and it's not just a lehenga, it is like a piece of art or whatever. So that effort I have to show through the video. So that is why this video was like, it took a lot of time also to make it.
It really shows. Thank you.
Mani, I had a question for this.
Yeah.
So you had this, amazing journey with Sabyasachi, which is still continuing, but you decided to change your journey as well after, working for 3 years with him. I mean, you wanted to try out new things. So I'm wondering what went in your mind when you decided you wanted to change the journey after having such a big break and you always wanted to get into fashion industry. So what was going on in your mind when you decided that?
It was a great experience. Also, like one thing which I felt is when you work continuously for closely with one brand for too long, it was very difficult for me to do focus on other brands. And here I've been like, mostly if you see, a brand has not too many different for him it was good because it was like he had jewelry brand, he had like an international collections altogether separately. So there were like chances for me to do different kind of videos, but still the main thing is just one particular kind of style. The brand, see, I personally believe any brand uh, needs a change after a few years in terms of who we are, like who are working there, right? Like there should be some sort of change in the way we do work. So what I felt after a point, I wanted to explore new things. Like I wanted to explore new brands, I wanted to work with multiple other brands. Then I felt okay, it was a tough call because I was working with one of the biggest in everything, and if I leave, if I have to do other work, I might not get this. All these things were there in my mind, but somewhere I felt I have to take that call where it's almost like instinctively you take decisions through your instinct. Sometimes you know that okay, maybe I might fail, maybe I might not do well, but I have to give it a try. So I then I moved back to Chennai, and I was doing like from there I've been like doing multiple projects now with all the brands. Now I'm not sticking with only one brand. I'm like doing multiple projects with multiple brands. So that was a good experience actually. I think one of the call which I did, I think it's a good call which I did. And yeah, so this is after, like when you're working with so before this I was doing all big scales, like everything was like production wise, everything was like really big uh, projects. And but when you're working with, but not every other brand will have the same sort of production, or not every brand will have same sort of money or production, right? When you're working with multiple brands, you have to be very adapt, like you have to adapt to the brand sometimes. right? Like whatever there, sometimes you like something and you take up the project and they might not have enough budget, right? So this particular project, when they approached, they didn't have any budget and they had very less budget. Also, they had their garments were nice, but last minute they didn't have any preparation. They came up with one small room we have to shoot. So in that kind of situation, we had to be more creative and come up with something interesting, even if there is no big props or art, nothing. I just saw the garment and I felt the garment as a good texture, and it will be nice if it has a flow and if it is not distracted by anything else. So all I did was just with the white background, I created this entire series was shot that way, just a white background, and we shot it, and it actually had a good response because it was very minimalistic and the impact was good. So it's not like to create one beautiful thing or one impactful artwork, you always need like big production or anything. Whatever the story requires, if we have that, then it is more than enough. Yeah. Yeah, this is for another brand. They were like so how I tell a story sometimes is basically, sometimes the brand also comes up with a story. Like this is what we this is the collection about this, and we have to tell a story. Then we build a story. Sometimes they don't have any idea. They come up with they'll just tell that the collection was inspired by. They told me they were inspired by old British era designs, and they made this, and they didn't know how to promote it or how to do the shoot. So when I saw this, I felt like it reminded me of the college days in my undergrad, where I used to study like all other old masters and all, like Western art when I was studying. So I felt it would be nice if we shoot it in that way. So whatever I studied there, I recreated here. Like I used to light it up and I used to paint oil color or whatever. Now I like lit up the same thing. Then I, instead of oil as a medium, I used camera as a medium and I shot this one. So yeah, it's like whatever I learned somewhere, it was like coming back to me.
So, Mara, we have with us Azil. He is our second year student.
Hi,
I'm quite curious to ask you something, Azil. Please go ahead.
Hi, Maran.
hi.
I'm Azal from second year. I'm doing Bachelor of Designing. Like you, I'm also like very passionate about photography. Like whatever happens in the photography section of the college, like I'm.
Can you be little loud?
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm also I'm also very passionate about photography. So whatever
Great.
photography thing happening in the college, I'm first person go. So like I had a question that like you did know how you applied your art studies on your photography. So how do I also like apply what I study in the college in the photography, like in the future? How do I do that?
You are asking like how you will use it in the later part.
Yeah.
Yes.
So whatever you do, whatever you study, whatever you do, it will reflect in your work. I believe that. And it's not like in all the projects you will be applying everything. It's not like that. See, for example, if somebody is joining a photography school, okay, all the students will be taught the same thing, like what is exposure, what is how to use a light. All these things are very basic, like common for everybody, right? But what they're going to create with that is completely different. Each one will be like creating different kind of art. If someone is inspired by photography, somebody is inspired by film, his photograph will look different. And if somebody is interested in literature and they were pursuing literature before, their photograph will look different. And I believe whatever we are studying, whatever we are learning, practicing, everything will have a part of it when we create art. So, and that is why each one's work is different. Like your journey will be different. Whatever you're studying in fashion or whatever you're studying in other design, that's going to reflect in different way when you're producing photography, right? So that is the beauty of it, I guess. Everyone's story will be different. If everybody has the same kind of procedure, this is what we have to do, then it will become very mechanic. But art is not like that. Art is about what all art and design is like very, what to say, even though you're learning all the formulas, whatever it is, when you apply a bit of yourself in it. And that's why each one's story is different. And So don't worry about what you're studying right now and whether it will help later or not. It will definitely help. Yours will be unique than whatever others, right? So that's the beauty of it.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, all the best.
Thank you, man. Thank you for this. Thank you, Azul.
So yeah, and one more perks of being in this field is like I get to travel a lot. So sometimes some of the projects, as I told you, some of the projects we have a concept before, and we are like coming up with, we are producing visuals for it. But there are some places where the location is the hero here, and so I'll show you some of the international projects we did. Like this one is I shot in Morocco, and we traveled for 10 days and we shot like around 10 different films in different cities, and then we traveled to Sri Lanka in different places. So I'll show you like one video from each. After that, we'll talk about it.
Sure. So, Manan, I'm going to put in the link. The link is
Yes.
right here. We quickly click it and come back. Yeah. So I'm
Sure.
going to play the live video for the viewers of Instagram so that it's easy.
Well, you're standing in the corner like you're standing on dry land. You've been all around in this part of town, and now you're waiting for a perfect man. Well, that ain't me, babe, but I'll sing you that rock and roll. I can't leave, babe, though I should go. Now don't look at me suspicious, like there's something I don't see. You got a smile so vicious that I know I'll let it be. But it's heat, babe, burning in and up and out my soul. Gasoline, babe, but you don't know. You're so uptown, uptight, white light, a bottle of wine. Anyways, that gonna make you feel alright. Now tell me, babe, is that gonna make you feel alright? Alright.
I would like to just, kind of add something over there. It was pretty interesting to see Money when we had like it was something that was shot for the same brand, but how you spoke about how the space kind of directs something. It was interesting to see how there were two very different kind of narratives for the same brand. So it was very interesting to watch over there.
So yeah, as you told, it's like that particular thing was like about the what location we are going. We have to build something there, and the story, the place dictates what you want to do. So that's how it is. And this one particular is after the pandemic started, during the lockdown. You all know like how so many things changed in our industry, and one such is the Lakme Fashion Week went completely live online. Instead of doing ramp walk and all, they did like everything was moved to digital. And so this was also, I think, a different like adaptation. What we did is basically, instead of doing the ramp walk, we choreographed an entire dam scenario, and we did this particular film for brand called Jade, where it was different because in fashion show it was just for the elite group and only few people could access to it, and also it is just models walking and going back. There is no big story as such, but whereas here people understood there is a big possibilities, big this thing to create more stories with the same budget. Instead of spending so much in a ramp walk, they can actually spend that and create an visually good looking videos. So I did 3-4 brands that time, like for the Lakme, and yeah. So after this, I did like a lot of projects for. I'll show you a couple of other projects I did for other photographers. I mean, other brands. So this was for a brand which was inspired by like their garments and their designs were inspired by Persia and Mughal art. So they wanted to create art which will reflect that, and they want to create the image which will reflect that. So it was quite interesting for me because most of the couture brand I shot was mostly Indian art inspired. So mostly those were shot in Rajasthan or some palace, or it was like, even for me it was little boring because I was just shooting in same kind of location. But here we had to create that Mughal vibe. So, but we can't travel to different country also. So we shot this in Delhi, and we created the entire scenario like this, where the mood and all this thing. It was a big team involved again. So when we see fashion image, mostly we appreciate the photographer, but photographer is a part of it. There is a big team behind it, where the stylist, the makeup artist, models, and the light boys, everybody makes the picture. So it was a very interesting project for me to develop the entire scenario, where creating this drama here. And I'll show a couple of more photos also in this. Next slide. Yeah. And in this kind of shoots, planning is very important, because you are doing a bigger scale, but also like for we are shooting in a place like this, you need like permission, government permission, and all this thing. You get very less time to shoot in that place, because after a point tourists will start coming, and also the light is very important. So this particular project, I have to shoot at 5 o'clock in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning. I have to take the first shot. So we went to the location at 3 o'clock in the night. I mean, 3 o'clock in the morning. Everything was dark, and we had to set up everything. So I can't miss that. That light will be there for like maybe 10 minutes. Other than that, after that, the light will become very harsh. So we went for a recce previous day. We saw, okay, this is the time the light falls here. It's not like we go to the location and we just shot. We went to the location previous day, recceed it, and did the shot perfectly on that particular time. That is why the shot looks grand also. So it's a teamwork at the end, fashion. Yeah. So yeah, although I've done like all these projects for different brands all this while, even if I look back and if I think about one image which tells me what fashion is, and that is this image which I shot many years ago when I was doing a documentary, when I was in a tribal village in Karnataka. There in the forest, this old woman was doing some work, and she was singing, and she was like doing some sort of work there. And I just felt like I shooting her photograph. I looked at her, and the power she held, the way she stared and the way she was carrying herself with ease. I Even now when I look back, what is the best photograph which will tell what is fashion to me? I would say this is the one. Uh, and I think that is a future which I am looking for, because although I think the fashion should not just be ended with only luxury brands, and it shouldn't be just about a product and selling, and of course the commercial part is there. That's where we are getting paid for. But apart from that, when we think about the future, I think it should be more about our roots. It is about identifying what we have here and what we are taking for granted and how we are going to show that to the international audience. Those are the things we have to focus on. And yeah, I feel if we and it's not just one person's, it's not just a photographer can create it. It's like as a fashion students, as a entire community, we have to walk towards there than just focusing on something from what the Western is doing. We have to like look into our own roots and find out stories from there, I feel.
Thank you so much, Mani. I think that was fantastic. And also, I think your last, whatever you spoke about, would answer the question that one of the people in the chat have. Karnika has a question which talks about story through clothes. And I think this kind of summarizes everything. For me personally, it has been a wonderful experience to see, you grow as a person. Like you've spoken about everything as a designer, but as a person, like I still remember you sitting in the animation lab and wondering why you're even sitting there in the first place, to where you are today. I think you still are in both the worlds where you're like talking about the world of glamour in fashion, but yet I think even there you've kind of been true to yourself and followed the whole concept of telling the story, no matter who is there behind that particular scene. And I think that is a wonderful thing to see. If I had to just ask you now, like after everything, is why do you think fashion matters?
Because it's about expressing oneself. It's about identity, showing who you are, right? And fashion matters because it's about showing your identity. And if you ask me, like, why do all the South Indian politicians, they wear this white and white, like a uniform? Everybody wears it to show the statement that they are very pure and all. Of course, they are not, but that's the identity they want to create, right? The same way, I think in my opinion, fashion matters because it is about expressing who we are. We have to, it doesn't have to be like fashion is not just about luxury or some particular brand you're wearing or the label. It's not that. It's about staying true to yourself and showing who you are in a with confidence.
Thank you so much. I think this has been pretty real for everyone. And I'm sure like Azil is jumping in the background somewhere. I know that for a fact. And I think for a lot of aspiring students as well, this must be like, it must be something so relatable every time when we want to change our opinions about things and feel like are we on the right path or not. And the way you have decided to take control of your journey and made those changes, I think it's really inspiring for all of us, and irrespective of when you change the direction of the journey. So I think this is pretty intense, but in a very, very good way for all of us.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you so much, Mani, for being a part of this. And thank you so much for everyone else who are here. And you can always get in touch with him if you ever want to feel inspired. And if you feel like you want to change your journey, and if you feel intimidated by the whole scenario, please go ahead, follow his work, and you'll feel like you can do anything that you want to do, that you dream of doing. And see you all in our next session, which is going to be on the 15th of April. And all the best. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.